Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 6.
A mother of 3 on her way to a child's school for a field trip is killed in an accident in Lincoln County.
Why former Kentucky lawmaker Steve Nunn says he wants to withdraw his guilty plea for murder.
And just how safe are the helmets used by Kentucky high school football players? What a WKYT investigation found. WKYT News at 6 starts now. Good evening to you. Thanks for being here with us. A crash on a busy central Kentucky road took a mother's life today. Investigators say she was on her way to her children's school for a field trip at the time.
The Lincoln County coroner says that 34-year-old Jessica Mobley died in the crash on US 150 near Crab Orchard this morning. Investigators say her car hit a tractor trailer. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has our top story at 6.
A tragedy that no one saw coming, a life that ended in the blink of an eye.
I think part of our faith is being ready that we know every day that we do face death.
Lonnie Pruitt hired Jessica Moberly last summer to work the register at his Crab Orchard Ready Mart store.
She had a bubbly personality about her. She was always friendly. But when you live in a town the size of ours, everybody knows everybody, so she knew a lot of people.
Early this morning, she was trying to get to Crab Orchard Elementary to join her children on a field trip.
Pickup truck was crossing over US 150 when it made contact with a semi-truck.
There was a lot of fog in the area around the time of the accident. There was also frost overnight, but it's not known if either of those things had anything to do with the accident. Moberly was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say she was not wearing a seatbelt.
I just feel sorry for the family for what they got to go through. She's got 3 children, and they're going to be without their mother.
Police worked hours to reconstruct the scene, standard procedure in deadly accidents. The busy roadway was closed for nearly 4 hours.
They're going to do everything that they can to get it right. They're going to reconstruct it, and then they'll send out their investigation.
Moberly's arrangements are being handled by McKnight Funeral Home in Lincoln County.
Continue to remember that family and pray for them, in this time of loss.
Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police say the driver of the tractor trailer was not injured in that crash.
Investigators are still working to identify some human remains found in a Lexington field. They spent much of the day at that field off Citation Boulevard. The coroner says investigators found more remains belonging to the same person today. The coroner believes the remains are those of a man, and they have been in that field for as long as 9 months. The remains have now been taken to the state medical examiner's office.
He pled guilty to killing his former fiancee in Lexington. But today, former state lawmaker Steve Nunn went back to court asking to withdraw that plea. Nunn is serving a life sentence for the crime. WKYT's Victor Puente was in the courtroom for today's hearing.
Today we heard from Steve Nunn as he took the stand. He claims the only reason he agreed to a plea deal was because he had been promised the civil suit against him would be dropped if he did. Steve Nunn shot and killed his ex-fiancee Amanda Ross in 2009. 2 years later, he would plead guilty to murder and be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Today, he said he only took that plea to help his daughters and Ross's family.
Going to trial was not something that I was opposed to personally. I was thinking more about other people than myself.
Ross's mother, Diana, had filed a civil suit against Nunn. He says he agreed to the plea so that suit would be dropped, preventing him from having to sell his home.
The only thing I was trying to do is save the home that my daughter lived in Bowling Green.
Nunn's attorney at the time, Warren Scoville, said he agreed with the bargain, thinking Nunn would get the death penalty if convicted.
Steve admitted that he killed this young lady. He admitted it on the telephone to Tracy. Admitted it to me, admitted it to everybody. Everybody knew once he got caught.
But Diana Ross's attorney testified today that there was no such deal, despite the fact that Scoville told Nunn there was.
It didn't happen.
And there's no question about that in your mind?
No.
I trusted my attorney. I relied on his advice.
It may not be until next year before we know how the judge will rule in this case. The attorneys involved have until December 15th to submit their written briefs, and she said she would rule within 30 days after receiving them. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
In that civil lawsuit referenced there in the story, a judge ordered Nunn to pay Ross's family nearly $24 million.
We are in the final stretch before Tuesday's election, and a new WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll finds the majority of Kentuckians, 68%, say they are satisfied with their choices in the U.S. Senate race. Just 17% disagree. At 7:30 tonight on WKYT.com, find out first whether Republican Senator Mitch McConnell or Democrat Allison Lundergan Grimes is in the lead. It is the final poll before Election Day. WKYT's Bill Bryant will break down the numbers for you at 11.
A wintry blast will be moving into the bluegrass just in time for your Halloween. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey shows us what he's tracking right now. Chris?
Yeah, Arctic cold front we've been talking about, Sam, for the past several days. As a matter of fact, dating back to last Friday, we were pinpointing Halloween for a dramatic weather change. And here we are a day before, and that front is showing up on Live First Alert Defender across the Plain States. There's another weak disturbance ahead of that. That'll bring a shower or two into town late tonight, tomorrow morning. This, though, is the Big Daddy that has the surge of cold air coming in behind it and the area of low pressure that is already producing snows into parts of Minnesota. Live First Alert Defender up close and personal across central and eastern Kentucky. Nothing is out there, but out ahead of the snows coming in tomorrow night and Saturday, winter weather advisory is already out for far southeastern Kentucky. Old Man Winter arriving early this year with that Halloween snow threat that I will detail, along with a blast of cold air when I come back in a few minutes.
It is an investigation we have been tackling for more than a month. Each Friday night, thousands of high school football players hit the gridiron. But how safe are their helmets? We contacted every school system, compiled the statistics, and even went to Virginia to track down the answer. Here's WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs.
To touch this turf,
Want me to throw it to you?
to play this game, for Dylan Lancaster, it doesn't get any better than this.
My bad. I always wanted to play football. My dad put me in pads when I was 5 years old.
He grew into those pads as a running back for Lexington Christian Academy. He was good and being looked at by several college football programs.
My dad and both of my grandfathers, they wanted me to be a football player my whole life. That's what they wanted for me.
And that's what he wanted until it was over.
In the back of my head is where all 4 of my concussions have been.
Between 100 and 120 G's is where we see most of the concussions.
Virginia Tech professor Dr. Stefan Duma is an expert at acceleration.
It's not rocket science. The better helmets have more padding and they reduce the head acceleration.
All right, you're going to give me a B-gap blitz right here, okay? You're going to stand back. Here we go.
We thought the best way to tell you is to show you.
Show 44, show.
Hey, 4-2, 4-2, 69 Mike, 69 Mike.
This is what a hit feels like.
Whistle. Good.
These Magoffin County boys just clinched their first district championship ever. Inside their helmet,
DNA Pro Plus.
Awesome.
Right there in the back.
Dr. Duma believes the key to their safety is written.
That's going to be about a 30 G impact. The reason we test it is because that's the majority of the impacts they're going to see.
Duma and his team came up with the first rating system for football helmets. Before him, there was just a pass-fail system for an adult helmet to be deemed safe for your child.
One of the main things we were trying to tell people is that the difference between the bad and the good helmets is dramatic. They all pass NOxI, but do you want the one that just barely passes, or do you want the one that passes by a lot?
So Dr. Duma developed a star system. 5 stars goes to the helmet best capable of taking a hit. 4 stars gets a very good rating. 3 stars, good. 2 stars, adequate. 1 star, marginal. And not recommended.
So not recommended, 1 star, 2 star. These are the ones we want people to get out of.
Our investigation into helmet safety uncovered 5 high schools in our viewing area with helmets below 3 stars. Rowan County has 6 2-star helmets and 2 1-star. 3 schools, Dunbar, Tates Creek, and Bryan Station, all have some 1 and 2-star helmets. Scott County had the worst percentage of what Dr. Duma would consider helmets that need to be replaced. Out of 145 helmets the district uses, 81 get a 2-star rating. We made numerous attempts to interview Scott County officials about their helmet selection. The athletics director and head football coach even told us he'd sit down and talk to us about it. Then told us questions need to go through the superintendent's office. We made multiple calls to the superintendent. She then released a statement basically saying student safety is their highest priority and they strive to stay abreast of new research to ensure that safety. They also said they are currently reviewing the Virginia Tech star ratings and will use the findings when purchasing new helmets.
I mean, would you go so far to say, you know, there's really no reason at this point that anyone should be in anything less than a 5-star?
What I would say is if you're buying helmets, you shouldn't buy anything less than a 5-star.
Districts across the state are strapped for cash. Helmets are expensive, ranging from around $150 per helmet to around $375.
The price of some of the best helmets was actually lower than some of the lower rated helmets.
That was one of the dramatic things, was that not only is there a big difference in performance, but there's a big difference in cost, and it's not related. So some of our most expensive helmets, $200, was the worst helmet. We had other helmets for $160 that were 4-star helmets.
Virginia Tech's star system is the first of its kind and has only been available since 2011.
I mean, you can just see relative to the other one how it's...
But in its 3 years, the number of 5-star helmets went from 1 to 9. Proof that education about helmet safety and concussions is catching on quickly.
Head-to-head contact in 2014 is now considered an undisciplined play. When I played, it was considered a good football play.
But late in the first quarter, the Wildcats drove...
Former University of Kentucky quarterback Freddie Maggard knows he took some hits in those days.
Many times in those days, it was knock the cobwebs out, you know, rub dirt on it, get back out there from the coaches and player and everybody, because this is the way it was.
Kentucky took the ball.
Maggard says the game has come a long way since his day. Coaches and trainers are more educated and aware of the signs of a head trauma.
I didn't tell my doctor, and now I'm never allowed to play again.
Lancaster admits he ignored signs.
Come on, dudes!
But the college that wanted him for his running back abilities, Center College, also wanted him for his character.
As soon as I told Coach Fry that I wasn't allowed to play, he said, well, do you want to be a student coach?
Now he's a leader in a game he loves and a model for younger generations to listen to your head and protect it.
And in regard to Scott County's helmets, officials do say they exceed state mandates and include yearly safety evaluation and reconditioning of all helmets. But as Dr. Duma pointed out, reconditioning a 2-star helmet is still a 2-star helmet, guys.
Miranda, you did a lot of work on this. We've talked about concussions a lot out here, so you've compiled a lot of information for parents to be able to go online and check out where their districts stand, right?
We actually talked to 55 school districts and got responses from all of them about what kind of helmets they have and how many, except 3. Clark County, Perry County, and Madison Southern did not get back to us. But it's a conversation a lot of districts are ready to have.
I think we've learned a lot.
We have.
Listening to what you reported.
Right, and check it all out, WKYT.com. Miranda, thank you.
A national organization has a special gift for a wounded veteran in Central Kentucky. We'll explain that coming up here at 6. A military foundation is offering a home in Scott County for a wounded combat veteran.
The Military Wars Support Foundation wants to give a 3-bedroom home in Georgetown to a wounded veteran mortgage-free. Veterans who have received a home through the program say many of them deal with a lot of debt when they return from service.
There's no mortgage payment, and that money you save doing that, you can put toward paying down your debt or repairing your credit, or just focusing on getting well, and that's why the need is there.
Veterans interested in the home will have to go through an application process. We have information for you on WKYT.com.